All right guys, well good morning and welcome back to the channel. So behind me is a large brush pile from, if you remember back in a couple videos ago, we cleared about an acre here for the house site. So the goal for today is to get this large brush pile burnt and also kind of clean up around the area. So we have a few more trees down over the hill here that didn't burn up from one of the driveway clearings we did. So that video is probably gonna come out later. And we have a couple more from over here, bigger stumps. Try to get all those burned up, and then just cleaning up along this last little wood line here and trying to get a lot of these smaller pieces of brush out while maintaining our little walnut trees here. So that's kind of the goal for today. I've just got the Bobcat up here. Gonna use it to kind of do some fine tuning. Unfortunately, we had a pretty hard rain about 2 days ago, so I just had to inchworm the Bobcat all the way up the hill here. So pretty steep, and since my driveway is not gravel yet, it's all a little bit muddy. Just like the top 2 inches is mud, so just enough with the wheeled skid steer to, you know, have to turn around and use the bucket to push yourself all the way up. So the dozer should have no problem, or excuse me, the loader should have no problem making it up here. So we're going to get our fire torch set up, and I'll show you guys how we usually start fires around here. Pretty straightforward way. Don't have to use any diesel fuel or tires or anything like too detrimental to the environment. So just a straight torch, and we'll be getting to that soon, but I'm gonna grab some stuff down here. We'll get the loader and we'll start this fire. Okay, so I ended up getting the loader up here now, and I also have the skid steer parked way over there out of the way, along with the chainsaw and a couple other things we might need. Usually like to park that out of the way next to a tree or something, just so I'm not trying to watch out for it whenever I'm using the loader on this fire over here. It's like the last thing you want to worry about. Also, I recently saw a video from Andrew Camerata a week or 2 ago where his excavator went up in flames, and obviously that's a pretty scary situation and it happens really fast. So he pretty much convinced me to go out, get a few more of these fire extinguishers. I know they have bigger ones, but you know, it's better than nothing, and hopefully you just catch it early. And put basically a new fire extinguisher in the loader, the skid steer, the tractor, pretty much anything that I would care catching on fire. I would care if it caught on fire. So let's get this set up here and we'll start this brush fire. Okay, so to get this lighted, just gonna keep our hose kind of out of the way here, get it untangled. Oh boy, get it really untangled. Okay, turn our propane on just like usual. Then we have a little switch up here, and we'll turn it down as low as we can because the propane will actually blow it out. Striker works for this too, but I did not bring it. There we go. So now we're lit. Kind of control the intensity here, and we'll just stick it into some of this smaller brush here, and that's it. Now we just wait. Okay, well, I was struggling to find a good spot over here. I tried to burn a little bit, but I wasn't getting enough of the small stuff. It wasn't quite dense enough, so tried a little bit here and it was about the same. So I was just found this spot here, try to keep the flame going, where it's just dense enough, it looks like, to keep the flame going. Try to get the bottom of the brush burning so it can come up and keep burning more as it comes up. So really need to have a good thick pile of this smaller branches and vines and stuff to get a good base going when you use this method. So obviously any of those accelerants would really help, but you know, try not to use those when possible, you know, just because it's a lot safer and environmentally friendly to do it like this. So we'll let this cook for a minute, and we will we'll see if we can get something going here, and then hopefully we can get something in this big patch here too. Okay, well, it took me about 10 minutes or so to get that actually hot enough that I could leave it and start a new spot. Once I tried to start a new spot, unfortunately I ran out of propane and I did not have a second tank with me today. So that's been burning for about half an hour now, and probably hard to tell, but the middle is getting burnt down as the smaller stuff kind of burns, but it just has to catch a little bit of the bigger stuff so we can get a good base going. But until then, I have some cleanup to do with the loader here, so we'll let this center kind of cook a little bit and get a good base going. By the time I finish clearing up this left side and a few other things around the edges here for the house site, should have a decent base going there, and we'll start rolling the fire into whatever's end up catching. So hopefully it'll get caught up a little bit, get to be a little bit hotter fire, but only time will tell at this point. Okay, so fire was pretty much going out there for a while. I tried to get it relit. It's just on the other side of this. I've been climbing up and down a lot. And again, I don't have a leaf blower, which would really help get a lot of these coals hot. You kind of see, I have a lot of hot coals in there, but the fire, I can't push enough on top of it to keep it going. So I'll show you guys another quick trick. I basically just took the loader and started to shove everything up on top of the fire as much as I can. You want to have your fire tall, that way the flames go from the bottom and just keep falling into basically like the volcano of flames. So have some good char and embers going over here. So one great thing, best part about this air-cooled Deutz engine Bobcat 873 over here is that being air-cooled, it actually has a big fan in the back there where the lift cylinder is, and it blows a ton of air out of that thing. So I've found out actually by accident when I've been burning fires with a skid steer that if I drive by the fire like perpendicular to it, the fan that blows air out of this channel here, and same on the other side, will actually act like my leaf blower and blow a ton of air into the fire and make it really hot. And I had to find that out the hard way a couple times, and then I realized that I could use it as the leaf blower. So let's go blow on this fire a little bit and we'll see how it goes. Step is to get a leaf blower and see if we can get it with that. Okay, well, sorry guys. I know I said this was probably my favorite method of having a brush fire, but I have been proving myself wrong. So hoping to redeem myself here, I just got the leaf blower. So let's see if we can get this thing going a little bit with the leaf blower, but it's really been fighting me the whole time. So yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you just can't get it to go, but got a leaf blower. Let's get this thing going now. Alright, well, getting a little hot standing next to this little fire, so maybe we can get this to go. Whew. Well, I'm really having to step back now. It's getting pretty hot, so I think we're gonna get something going here. Not really the fire that I wanted to start, but I guess the fire I needed. So I'll take it. Getting blasted by some hot embers now, so I'm gonna step back and see if this will take. So give it a minute, maybe push some more brush on top of it, and we'll go from there. All right, at least we have something going now. Okay, so making some progress. Pretty much have this whole left side here cleared out. All the small brush, just need to fine tune it a little bit. Tried to save as many of the bigger trees as I can. Ended up with a couple Osage orange, a few cherry, but the fire, I think I'm confidently saying, is finally going. So see, we have a lot of the bigger stuff is now making a good base, and basically now the goal is just to let this burn down and then just keep rolling everything into the hot base. So this is like the perfect setup for throwing all the stumps I have over here on here, because of course stumps have a hard time burning down, especially if they have a little bit of dirt on the root system still, but a nice hot fire like this tends to do a good job burning those down. Also, I lost my skid plate. I don't know what happened. It looked like I was just pushing over one of these trees and I happened to see it, luckily. See what the damage is here. Ouch. Oh, got the daggers. Oh my. Ouch. Ouch. Oh, I'm right in the jagger bush. Well, these are 3/4 inch bolts. Ouch. I'll hold this thing on. I must have just caught it with some kind of stick. Oh, this thing probably weighs 100 pounds, 80 pounds. Okay, well, it looks like I lost 2 of my mounting bolts here, 3 of my mounting bolts, and the only one that was left holding it on sheared off. And wow, I mean, look at the power of that thing, just bending probably a 1/2 inch thick steel plate. So that's a bummer. Looks like I'll only be having 3 bolts hold this on whenever I put it back on. So not the end of the world. I mean, these things are made to be beat on, but now I have to carry this over somewhere where I won't run it over or lose it. So I'm gonna let this burn for a bit, and I will catch back up with you guys next time we flip it. Well, while we wait for that to burn down, I did end up saving this nice piece of Osage orange. And you know, I always like to save some good wood in case we can turn some bowls or something, so I might as well get this cut up. Okay, well, I'll grab that with the skid steer later, kind of separate that nicer log out from the stuff that I can throw in the fire. But yeah, this Osage orange, not a very common wood, so if you're not familiar with it, they make these little fruit here. I guess they're fruit, but yeah, we always called them monkey balls when I was growing up. But this is an Osage orange. You see them on the side of the road somewhere. It has this really nice orange wood, and I've never actually worked with it, woodworked anything, so nice just to keep a couple logs here. We have these 2 from the first time we cleared. You know, if we can get them cut up on the sawmill, if they're straight enough, or even turn them down into some bowl blanks or something. I've heard that the wood is really flexible. So you can see when I'm like clearing the trees themselves grow in like a crazy orientation all the time. It's almost never just straight up and down. And when you start pushing it over, it'll flex. You could probably turn it almost 360 degrees before it actually snaps or pushes over. So they are very very stringy, very gum band like, I guess. So I'm not sure what the official term is. Opposite of ductile, I guess, or very flexible. So should be fun to work with. Glad I got to keep a couple of them. Any other bigger trees that I have to take down that are worth saving, definitely gonna save. Just throw them on the log pile. So but everything that's junk, hard to really put in the time to save that. So we'll check on the fire here. Looks like it's pretty much ready to get another roll in. I know it is getting very hot over there. The time-lapse camera, even though it was like 100 feet away, just randomly turned off because of the heat. I could tell it was getting pretty hot. We are starting to get a breeze now, so almost every time that breeze picks up for a couple seconds, it really throws some heat into that fire, and I see all these ashes and embers coming out. So yeah, good. That's why we wait for decent rain, so everything else around it's wet. You can see it's kind of snowing here on the small stuff, but yeah, I've been doing a lot of these, you know, for the past few years, and it's really hard to catch other stuff on fire around here, at least in this area in Pennsylvania. So not too worried about that. But let's get this rolled over and we'll see how we're looking after that. Okay, well, fire's been burning for probably about 2 hours now, I'd say. Well, 3 hours actually. So we're really getting somewhere now. You can see we're pretty much all burnt down to just bigger logs and sticks now. Of course, I just ran the loader out of fuel, so had to run down and grab 15 more gallons of diesel. So I guess that's the price you pay whenever you don't have a working fuel gauge. Hopefully it starts, because I shut it off as soon as it started to burp a little bit. So this thing does not, well, it does have a primer on it, but it doesn't work. So if it doesn't start right now, then unfortunately I have to take the cover off and bleed the injectors, which really sucks, especially because I'm in kind of the high brush here. But got 15 gallons in it now, so let's keep our fingers crossed. Oh, well, that's a bummer. Okay, well, I just ran down, grabbed a couple wrenches and a couple crescent wrenches, because I know my screen here is 3/4 of an inch, but I cannot remember what size the injectors are. So I'm gonna pull the screen off, just bleed maybe 3 out of the 6 injectors, maybe 4. That usually gets it enough to fire. If you want to see that process, you can always check the video where I changed the injector on here, went through a lot of the bleeding process. So it's always easier if the arms are up. Unfortunately, I'd probably have to kill the battery just turning the key over to get the arms up. So I'm going to try to squeeze in here and get it like this, but man, it makes it harder. But if this is the worst thing that goes on with this project, that's pretty good, because usually everything goes wrong whenever I'm trying to do something. Alright, so pretty easy to get that panel off. Really, you just have to loosen these few bottom bolts because it's just resting on them. There's like a U-shaped slot cutting this. So then you just take the top ones out. But alright, there's our 6 injectors. I can easily get to these 4 back here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm gonna crack those open, turn it over a couple times, and get this bled off. And for future reference, this is probably a 5/8. It's actually probably metric now that I'm thinking about it. This is probably a 15 millimeter or something. So crescent wrench it is. You know, as much of a pain as this is, I am very thankful that it died here and not very close to the fire, because even this far away, you know, I'm probably, I don't know, 150 feet from the fire, it is still toasty. So, it could always be worse. I'll loosen that back one up just a little bit. It might fire with those couple. Okay, we do have fuel. Okay, we do have fuel to this back one now, so hopefully these 4 are enough to get this thing running. Yes, might have to do one more. All right, let's do one more. I'll get back to you guys. Okay, well, I have fuel to all of these injectors, and it still does not want to fire. So it was really fighting me. It was really fighting me on that last one towards the front of the engine, that number 1, I guess it would be. It's getting burnt constantly on the coolant line and everything. So now I'm just going to give it a little bit of encouragement here with some starting fluid. So hopefully it'll be able to fire off this. Only have so much battery left here, of course. Really hoping to get this going before my batteries ran out. hear them dying when I was trying before. Alright, I guess I'm getting some jumper cables next. Okay, I just grabbed some cables and brought the Bobcat over so it can charge that. Our pile is definitely dwindling, so I really need to get this loader running and push everything into each other, kind of consolidate the pile or concentrate the pile a little bit, or you know, it's not gonna burn all that big stuff, especially those couple stumps in there. So definitely need to get this thing running. Probably push this in one more time, and then I just need to go through like this whole area over here where the house site's gonna be, and kind of clean up all these little sticks and any other decent sized pieces of brush. I could definitely burn stuff like this still, no problem, just grabbing it and throwing it into a smaller pile, but I definitely want to get everything like 6-8 inch diameter stumps, everything in that big fire pile now, so I don't have to deal with it later. So we'll give us a minute to charge, and then we'll see if we can get this thing going. Okay, well, while we wait for this thing to charge, I have the fire behind me. Just climbed up on the loader here, try to get a perspective. So eventually the house will be here, somewhere in here. And my biggest decision right now is to have the front of the house facing east or west. So those are my two options. I'm not really interested in facing in north or south. So behind me over here is east. So we have the morning sun coming up, and this way is west. So my biggest dilemma right now, do I want to be able to sit on my back porch and enjoy the evening or the morning? And I'm kind of leaning towards facing the front of the house west and the back of the house east. That way we can get the morning sun on the back porch, because my wife and I spend a lot of our time on the back porch. Really enjoy it when it's shady. And then we'll have basically all the evening shade. And so if we do that, just trying to get a visual for our view, because I also want to see, you know, the best view. And if we face it this way, you know, from the height I am now on the loader, which might be pretty close, it's hard to tell right now. But if I take a couple more of these trees out, we get this really nice view of the Appalachian Mountains over there, and more or less just rolling hills and farms. So hard to tell right now. Maybe I'll be able to get a better picture of that one day, show you guys. But you know, feel free to leave me a comment down below. What do you think? Should I face the house north, south, east, west? You know, what's the best? I know it's hard to tell with the sun and the sunrise and sunset, but you know, we have great views all around. That way also has great views, you know, just rolling farmland the whole way. It's just if we look to the east, we get the Appalachian Mountains. If we look to the west, we get rolling hills and farmland. So it's a hard choice, and my slope already naturally comes this way. So if this design is a walkout basement, it makes more sense to have it the front this way and the back towards me, towards the east. So I don't know, hard to tell. But if you guys have any comments, you know, feel free to leave them below, and I will definitely take those into consideration. Just thought I'd be able to get a decent preview of hopefully what our future back porch view will be. But I think this has been charging long enough. I'm gonna go fire it up and see if we can get any life out of this thing. Alright guys, well, I've been at this thing for probably over an hour now, and I'm just getting frustrated. So I think this is gonna be a tomorrow job. I have no idea what's going on with this thing. I mean, I have fuel to all 6 injectors. Actually went down and got the correct 17mm wrench so I can get that tough one on number 1 cylinder. There's fuel at every injector, and I've tried just starting it regular. I tried just using starting fluid, and it'll run fine on starting fluid for a second, but then it just does not want to take any fuel. So I don't know. I've added 20 more gallons just to try to increase some head pressure there. So there's 20 gallons of fuel in there. It's probably about a 35-gallon tank. So yeah, I don't know, just frustrating at this point. So I'm gonna just try to push what I can in the fire with the Bobcat. It definitely doesn't do nearly as good of a job, and I'll just try to fix this thing tomorrow, and we should have more than enough hot coals over there to restart this fire. So all right, I'll get this fire pushed up a little bit and see what we can do with this skid steer. Okay, so just spent the last hour or so kind of just tidying up, consolidating the fire, condensing the fire as much as I can. Just going through this whole field, because there's basically stumps and a few big branches that were left over, so just wanted to be able to brush hog this without worrying about smashing up the brush hog too much. So pretty much cleared the whole field. There's just some small stuff like this left over, but the brush hog will be able to take care of that. A couple of these big rocks around. I don't know where these came from, but they're kind of hiding in here. I'll just leave it in the driveway for now. Clean up as much as I could on this little hillside. Really need the loader, but the fire's going good, so that's a good sign. And again, I think I'll just probably turn the fire one more time and then just let it burn out from there, and then see if I can get it going again tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, and kind of just burn all this little stuff by hand, walk around and throw stuff in as needed. But yeah, very exciting day. Filthy and disgusting. This is the worst part to push the fire, especially with the Bobcat because it's so much lower. But every time you push those ashes, it just makes like a wave of ash and dust that comes right into the cab. So I don't know. Yeah, I think tomorrow we'll be able to get this down. And then one stump here I tried to get out with the skid steer, but even digging around it, I couldn't get it to move. So I'll see if I can get the loader on that tomorrow, if I can get it running. And then really it's just laying out for house and trying to get this slope to make sense, because it's a walkout basement, so I can't remember exactly the height we'll need, but this should be pretty close. So we'll see. But until then, we will just revert to the time lapse for the final burnout here. And I appreciate you guys watching. See you on the next one.